Hi János, and welcome to the Maestro Online. So tell me about your journey. In fact, before you tell me about your journey, tell me about this actual building and where we are.
This is an interesting place. We are exactly under the Liszt's apartment. He taught here in this apartment weekly. He gave lessons to the students, and actually this was the first building of the Music Academy Budapest, founded by Liszt in 1875.
How inspirational is that? That's wonderful.
So we had a great fortune that we have quite a residence here, the organ faculty. This is the organ room called Bach room, and we can also teach here. I teach here every week improvisation. I use the piano, the organ at the same time. Several times we play together, organ and piano. So it's a good place, and I like it.
It's brilliant. And I've had the great fortune to watch you teach this week, and I've seen the amazing talent that you have and how brilliant you are as a teacher. But where did it all begin for you? How old were you when you first started?
The big moment was when I was admitted at the Music Academy, but my life was very unique and very interesting because I went to the normal gymnasium, lycée.
Yes, you told me you started when you were 4, even before that?
Of course. I improvised all the time. I had the pianino of my great-grandmother at home, and it gave the possibilities to discover this wonderful world among the keys. Yes, I started at the age of 3 or 4.
But this wasn't necessarily reading music. This was by ear and exploring and creative process.
Yes. As I remember, I always was looking for how could sound the organ. And I also I pushed the pedal all the time because it gave the same effect like big organ in the big cathedral. The reverberation is like the organ at the cathedral, and that was exactly what I was looking for in the age of 4.
Yes,
it's amazing, and right after, every time I have heard the organ sound from inside and sounding inside, and I was outside, of course. It every time impressed me so strong, and it was very clear for me that I have to do something with the organ. And we went to the church, and church hymns was very important for me, because I always wanted to lead the church singing, the singing of the congregation by the organ. So I started it, of course, in our church, and I was 15 when I played first time for a 400 members congregation during Sunday. So it was a great event for me, and afterwards I regularly played on the services, but it took a very long time when I get my own job in the Fasor Reformed Church. I was exactly 30 years old, right after I returned with my family from Paris, after my 2 years study.
So tell us about Paris.
Paris is amazing. Paris is the dividing point of my life. I always wanted to work with Olivier Latry. He was 40 years ago, exactly 40 years ago, the youngest organ player or organist at the Notre Dame among the other organists. He was 23 when he was appointed in the Notre Dame organ to be a titular organist. And I discovered how he plays through the Vidor disc, and we played a game among the Barotti pupils at his home in Esztergom. Actually, this home was on the wall next to the Danube. Very romantic and very interesting. And we collected several discs, also from abroad. And this day, Latry's disc was the menu, but it was a secret who plays and where. And Latry played in the Notre Dame. And at the first moment, I immediately realized that I have to do something with this man, and this organ playing is fabulous for me, and this can fulfill all my ideas. So that was the point when I decided to go to Paris, but it was quite simply impossible that time. That was the communist time in Hungary, and before the change in 1989, and it remained only a dream several years, but nine years later, after I already assisted and I have heard his concerts in Vienna, so we fixed that I can go to Paris and I can work with him. He gave me the most difficult job to be admitted at the Paris Conservatory at the third cycle, cycle de perfectionnement. It is a very hard exam, but I was admitted, and it meant 2 years and work, 2 years study, very free. I had to concentrate only to the organ. That was my aim all the time, and I received my lessons exactly in the Notre Dame.
Wow.
During the night. And this instrument is another dream for me. It's the most exciting organ of the world. Changed several times, but changed every time by genius organ builders. And these two years gave me so many things and so many experiences that this experience led me to win the competition, international competition of the city of Paris. So I won the great prize.
You must have felt incredible at that moment.
At the very end of my 2 years studying.
Fantastic. And of course, this prize at that point was for playing repertoire, not for improvising.
Yes, it was interpretation prize. At the same time, my good friend Frédéric Blanc won the improvisation prize. So it's interesting because we are in the same age.
And at this point, you said to me that you were just about to gain the confidence to put improvisation in your programs for your concerts.
Yes, I didn't improvise in the program before Paris, in my concert programs, because I didn't feel me so qualified improviser.
Yes, and you were saying you felt that if it was in the program, there was almost a pressure there as well to deliver an improvisation of a certain standard, or it changed how you thought about it in a concert.
Yes, but I got so many inspirations in the Notre Dame. Exactly, you can imagine. Every 3 weeks, I could see with my own eyes how Olivier Latry can prepare himself for the improvisation, how natural improvisation is, what does improvisation require, can require from the organist, and how can we organize the registration, how can we improvise in the liturgy. So many important questions, and 2 years very concentrated inspirations. So it encouraged me.
What do you think were the most important improvisation lessons or ideas or philosophies that you took away from Paris? What was the greatest thought?
Actually, I assisted and I was present Loïc Maillet's improvisation lessons. This is regularly organ improvisation for the students in the conservatory. It was very interesting, and I have seen many personalities among the students. I could judge what does improvisation means in personalities. How can they improvise different ways? And I imported all these concentrated events and inspirations. And I decided to develop myself. I actually didn't receive regularly improvisation lessons. Here in Budapest, there was a great improviser, Ferenc Gergely, organist of the Franciscan Church in Budapest. He was a big personality, and in Hungary was only a few organists who could improvise. And so improvisation is not in the Kodály methodology.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that I have to do. I have to give a path to the students, to the improvisation.
Of course, the Kadai method is quite disciplined and structured, isn't it? So improvisation, in a way, is almost an opposite to that. It's more of a freedom in the way that you teach it.
Yes, but improvisation was almost prohibited in the education, musical education in Hungary. That's crazy. That is. I cannot understand why.
Do you think that was part of the Soviet control at the time?
I am not sure, but everything was depending with the communists' ideology. Mm-hmm. But I experienced that organ culture suffered under the Soviet
regime,
period. So because everything was killed, was what was related with the church.
Because the church was in opposition to communism.
Yes. Communists was afraid from the church, actually. But organ culture suffered. Culture suffered because of that. The great organ building tradition was completely killed by the communists because it was a manufacture. It was a capitalism. It was an enemy
yes.
in the socialism period. So we had to renew. We have to have a new start, a new beginning for the organ culture, for the organ building, for the improvisation. And improvisation is very flourish on the organ. So organ is the instrument of the improvisation.
Yes, and of course you have been a huge influence here in that through your passion and commitment to organ, to improvisation and to Hungary. And you won your professorship at the Liszt Academy.
Yes, it was a very rare moment that I could participate on a competition for admitting a professorship in the academy. It simply means teaching organ. But I started to have improvisation lessons. It was completely brand new for the students, and that time I gave improvisation lessons for organists and for pianists and for composers. Very interesting, and I taught many generations, and for the improvisation in the great hall, in the grand hall of the main building of the Music Academy. This is a very iconic hall with the organ prospect, and several times I had the Steinway D model on the stage. And I combined improvisation with the organ and piano.
Fantastic.
And it was very interesting for me and hopefully for the students too.
What is the favourite musical moment of your life?
In my career, you mean, or in my listening music, or
anything you like?
Anything. Of course, the biggest event for me was the experience, the real experiences in the Notre Dame with that fabulous instrument. So this instrument was changed several times, but the first change to add electric console, it was managed by Pierre Cochereau, completely changed the improvisation tradition in that profession, because Cochereau's improvisation completely changed by the new electric console.
This is because the keys are lighter and everything can happen.
Yes, it gave much easier touch and for the big sound it was a better management. And I can realize on the Cochereau's improvisation that big change. So the organists nowadays they follow the tradition of Pierre Cochereau, but of course it was the biggest event for me that I could see very close how can happen improvisation and what is needed for that. And I could see the habitude. I could see how natural can be an improvisation and how innovative. So that experience accompanied me after I returned.
And that freedom is a core element of your teaching, isn't it?
But I regularly I am listening to music from discs. Of course, my favorite is piano concertos. This is almost more than the organ for me, because the sound is so complete and
who's your favorite pianist?
A pianist? Now, interesting question. My favorite pianist was the genius Zoltán Kocsis, of course. He died several years ago. He was very young, very talented, and very unique person. But now there is a new pianist, a girl, very, very young, Alexandra Dovga, Russian. Fantastic, and I give examples several times to my students. You can see that's the music. So what Alexandra can realize on the piano, we could do the same on the organ.
Wow.
So, and the technique is the most important.
So it's the communication.
The approach is the habitude, how I can sit to the instrument and how I can think inside.
And if you had one piece of advice for other people, one pearl of wisdom, what would your advice be to people?
Don't follow the classical rules and set you free, completely free, and collect personal experiences on the piano, on the organ. So with your own ears. So that's what I did. The most important advice I got from Olivier Latry was to listening to other organists, and that way I can collect impressions, and I can unify the different impressions in me inside, and I have to discover my own word, my own approach, but all the time with great self-confidence, because I see on my students that they start to improvise without self-confidence. They are stressed by the classical rules. And how can I follow? How can I fulfill? How can I make excellent music? But this is not the question. The question is, how can I be completely free with my instrument and completely creative?
János, thank you so much.
You're welcome.